Thank you for coming.
All right, so we'll give them about 5 more minutes, and if they don't get here, then we'll go first, and then we're hoping by then they'll prepare to start. So we may go first. So if they aren't here by 10:15, we're going to get started. Do you guys have the first two speakers?
If you want a story, I got a few
Okay.
accounts from the woman.
Well, we'll just keep talking.
Yeah, we have a script, but hopefully he'll come.
Yeah, so we'll just keep talking if we have to, like, hopefully by then. But that is Darren's assistant here is trying to get them here. I don't know.
Or no, we'll rip it off when somebody agrees to donation. So we have to.
We just go. He said they are on their way. I don't know what this
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on the.
Also, we heard they had to finish by 11. Like,
Yeah, we have to finish by 11. That's the only thing. Is like, this is a opportunity we have to take advantage of, regardless of what they like. Have not traveled. Yeah, we get it. That's why we're here. We get it. Yeah. We're here.
Let's just start. One or two of them.
Just walks around with a cooler full of ice.
What if we just start with the testimonies? We just start rolling with the testimonies and we're doctors against genocide.
We'll just start with
no, but they are first, right? The Josie's first, Stacy, Caleb, those people can go first.
It'll be after Harrison Mann speaks because he'll be the fourth one. Hello? That ended. Yes.
Who is there? No, Miss Medea is there.
Oh yeah, right. I'm right. How are you? Yes. Are you here? Are you here?
Yeah, here's
Oh, okay. It is. And can you call me back in about 45 minutes? Because I'm actually going to start in a minute. So, okay, call me back and that's okay. Call me back and I'll connect you.
Sorry, everyone. We didn't want to interrupt the poem.
Okay, sounds good. I'll give you the doctor. All right. Shall I start? Right.
Okay. All right. Thank you all so much for being here. Trying to get everybody. Yeah.
Even after they are on the bench.
I'll wait for you, Nidal. Nidal's my constituent, so I work for him.
Yes.
I'm on his timeline.
All right.
Okay. شو هذا مكتوب؟ شو هذا؟ Oh yeah. Oh, that's it. Okay. You guys can كربوا علي. تعال بغير كل مصعب يا زلمه مش عارفه يا مصعب. I know قطلة متعصب يعني. انا الاكسنت تبعي حالي بضل كل العربي تبعي مش. Okay. Thank you all so much for being here.
Yeah, that's good actually. That's good.
Okay.
All right, let's get organized here a little bit. Can you get in the back and you get forward?
So you guys know it's the Mossad. You're next. You're next. طولش.
طيب 5 دقائق.
Okay. عشان الشغل. Right. I know it's hard to speak, but sometimes it just humanizes. أنت ما عندكش ولاد؟
I have 3 children.
كلهم.
مين؟
أنا when I ask you about yourself, you have to I'm a father. I know it's hard. بس يعني you understand بشوفونا.
Just give them your bag.
We're not family. The way that most of my residents connect to people from Palestine when بشوفوا الأم بتعيط على أولادها. Thank you so much for Veterans for Peace, Doctors Against Genocide, Musab. I'm going to get it right. Musab of the Taha. And all the human rights advocates for joining us today. As you all know, we're here because the Israeli apartheid regime is starving Gaza, and we need to act now. Using starvation as a weapon of war is a war crime. There is no denying it. The Israeli government is deliberately blocking food, medicine, fuel, and tents from entering Gaza. The entire population of Gaza, over 2.1 million people, is experiencing famine and disease. 500,000 Palestinians are facing catastrophic levels of starvation. We are watching it right now live. Children, where you can see their bones, their ribs, you can see their bodies shutting down. Thousands of them are children who are already again experiencing this. At least 113 Palestinians, I know it's more, and including 80 children, have already starved to death. Palestinians have been forced to eat grass, animal feed. I even saw an image of children licking just a little bit amount of flour on the back of a truck. Palestinians, again, have been sitting here waiting for food that is right over the border. Trucks carrying food and medicine supplies sitting there, blocked again by the Israeli government from entering. Let me remind all of you the words of the Israeli finance minister, because it needs to be said. This is an Israeli minister who said, nobody will let us cause 2 million civilians to die of hunger, even though it might be justified and moral. Now, Israeli forces are deliberately shooting and starving Palestinians lining up for food. Over 1,000 murdered in the past 2 months alone, according to the UN. The so-called Gaza, quote, Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, a joke, inhumane, immoral. It's a deadly sham, a trap backed by the Israeli government and the Trump administration. The United Nations even calls it a death trap. The Israeli soldiers themselves have admitted themselves that they were ordered to deliberately shoot unarmed Palestinians that were just coming there, creating a killing field. This is illegitimate organization that Trump administration with the Israeli government, again, giving millions of dollars to them. And we say enough is enough. President Trump is refusing to enforce U.S. and international law by greenlighting the Israeli government and regime from, again, greenlighting the blockade of all the aid into Gaza and the slaughter of the Palestinian people, while we go, again, around here in Congress to prove the delivery of more than $12 million in weapons during his 60 days in office. $12 million already. While Trump continues to push his disgusting illegal proposal to ethnically cleanse Gaza, he released a video saying that he's going to ethnically cleanse Gaza of 2 million Palestinians, the vast majority of voters oppose. And I say this because, forget voters, they're Americans of all different backgrounds that are saying, stop it. You know, this institution's not moving with the majority of their constituency. And it's shameful, because if they poll their constituents, if you ask them, do they want another dime? They want us to continue to support the war crimes being committed in Gaza? They would tell you hell no. Because they've seen the images we all have seen of babies being starved to bone. Every day that our government continues to withhold funding from UNRWA, they are actively participating in these crimes against humanity. Every day that our government continues to again fund this genocide, they're enabling more death and destruction. We must continue to push for a complete arms embargo of all weapons to the Israeli government. 7 out of 10 Democrats support an arms embargo. So again, no matter what weapons is, I don't care if it's offensive or defensive, whatever you call it, let's stop enabling, again, the genocide. The excuses I've heard will never justify these war crimes. It's past time that my colleagues stop making excuses and listen to the majority of Americans. As a girl that from Southwest Detroit, the most beautiful, blackest city in the country, I can tell you, when I go home, they are telling us over and over again, what are y'all doing continuing to support this? We don't have clean drinking water, but yet we always seem to have funds to, again, bomb people, kill them, and destroy communities all around the world. And again, they continue to tell me how they see that we prioritize death and destruction. And you all know, I know many of my colleagues benefit personally and financially because they own stocks in war manufacturing industry. I watch them press yes over and over again while they benefit from owning stocks in Lockheed Martin and all these war manufacturing industry. Shameful. Shameful that they continue to benefit from death. And shameful that they won't have the courage to stand up to special interest groups and pro-genocide groups that are continuing to enable this because they support the ethnic cleansing. Listen to the people in the government of Israel. They are telling you that's exactly what they want to do. Stop excusing it. Stop pretending that's not what's happening. Again, they are luring people to the border to get food because they're so hungry, many of them sending their own children. And they're coming back completely killed. And you watch, these bullets are in their heads and their bodies. It's intentional. And so again, I tell you, as the only Palestinian-American serving in Congress, wake up, because the American people are telling you over and over again, we're not in support of this. So maybe for once, would you listen to your constituency? Poll them like you poll everything else. They will tell you they do not want one goddamn freaking dime going to starve a whole people or ethnically cleanse and continue this genocide. With that, I want to introduce Mossab. I'm so sorry. You're going to kill me. Mossab, who's an amazing poet and writer. But today I learned that he was a teacher and who loved his students. And it breaks me to tears to hear him talk about how he doesn't know where the whereabouts is, but how one of his favorite students was taken away so early. You know, Mossab, I continue to tell my colleagues all the time, why is it that Palestinian children don't deserve to grow old? Why is it that you think they're as disposable? Why is it that you don't understand a child is a child, no matter their ethnic background? Sometimes I wonder if they closed their eyes and pretend they were Palestinians, if they would act. And so I know through art, through beautiful ways of trying through words of our pain, that we're trying again to move people with us. But I know again, our country is moving, even if the institution that's continuing to be broken behind us doesn't move. We're gonna make them move. With that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Representative Rashida Tlaib, for your words. In fact, I lost so many members of my family, over 50. Some of them are still under the rubble. I myself am a survivor of the genocide. I was abducted by the Israeli forces for 3 days. I'm a father of an American citizen. Okay. I'm a father of an American citizen. We were in Gaza. Our house was bombed on October 28, 2023. And we were lucky because no one was inside the house. We already evacuated it, but we got no calls from anyone, not from the Americans, not from the Israelis, that they would bomb our house. Otherwise, I wouldn't be standing here. I lost so many of my students. Hatem, Zaanin, and Harith Naim are just one of them, two of them. And I came here to talk about some of the latest news that I'm getting from Gaza. I just prepared this yesterday evening before I came here. On Sunday, 4 days ago, on Sunday, my father-in-law went to Beit Lahia with his son and nephew to wait for food arriving through the Zikim aired crossing. Thousands had gathered, desperate for a lifeline. At 8:30 in the morning, an Israeli shell struck the crowd. My brother-in-law and his nephew were among the wounded. They were taken to the hospital, but doctors couldn't operate them until after some hours. When I video called them 2 days ago on Tuesday, I saw someone in the same hospital room with a leg amputated. I didn't recognize him at first. Then a neighbor passed the phone to him. It was Muayyad, my neighbor, pale and thin, a father of two, someone I used to play soccer with. Muayyad once ran a barbecue restaurant with his siblings. Israel destroyed his home, destroyed his restaurant, destroyed our neighborhood, destroyed our city. It killed members of our families, severed Muayyad's leg, and starved his entire family. Now his wife and 2 children are even more desperate, with Muayyad still in the hospital, unable to provide. He told me his leg might have been saved if there had been enough doctors. But the casualties were overwhelming. Too many, too urgent. That same morning, my second cousin, Ali Abu Arab, was shot in the abdomen while waiting for aid trucks. He didn't die immediately. It took an hour to get him to the hospital. Once admitted, his final words were, "Take care of my wife and 5 children." Ali was a father of 5, aged 11, 9, 8, 5, and a year and a half. He wasn't the first loved one and relative I've lost. On October 13, 2023, an airstrike killed 31 members of my family. 18 children, 6 mothers, and 2 elderly were among them, and a disabled man. my cousin, my first cousin's husband. Among them was my first cousin, Tahrir Abu Toha, and their 5 children, an entire family erased. On October 9th, 2023, I lost my pregnant cousin, Dua al-Dabash. On October 22nd, my cousin Noor al-Shantaf was killed along with her husband and their 3 children. Only 1 child survived. Another cousin was killed on October 18th, 2024, with 14 members of her family. My great aunt, whom I called Grandma, was among them. Her body is still under the rubble. Israel later razed that entire area. On January 17th, 2024, after more parents were killed returning home with bread, I wrote this poem. He left his house to buy some bread for his kids. News of his death made it home, but not the bread. No bread, death sits to eat whoever remains of the kids. No need for a table, no need for bread. In recent weeks, my parents have left home for a pack of flour, and many parents have left home for bread, but never returned. Some came back wounded or traumatized. Starvation isn't just about lack of food. It's about denying essential supplies: formula, diapers, medicine, equipment, fuel. Babies don't need flour, by the way. They need care. They need Israel to stop bombing hospital wards and family tents. They need the US to stop sending more weapons, to stop vetoing UN resolutions calling for a ceasefire and release of hostages on both sides. They need the media to stop dehumanizing us. They need no one to defend their killers. Shame on those who do. While human rights groups, UN officials, and genocide scholars have already warned that Israel's actions may amount to genocide. What people in Gaza and all of Palestine need is an end to occupation and justice and accountability for all who enabled this, governments and media alike. It is shameful that I'm saying this 22 months into Israel's genocidal campaign, after Gaza has been flattened, after thousands have died, while the West Bank is also under attack. Just yesterday, the Israeli Knesset passed a non-binding resolution to support the annexation of the West Bank. It is shameful that I must say this after Israel has committed and continued to commit every crime imaginable, wiping out entire families, blocking aid, shooting civilians seeking food, abducting fishermen. Just yesterday, they abducted fishermen from the sea in Gaza, just a few meters into the sea, bombing mosques and churches and killing Muslims and Christians, killing medics and burying their bodies. They killed the medics and buried their bodies in Rafah, killing journalists and aid workers, committing crimes against humanity and justifying these war crimes. As a refugee, one of the most painful losses was the destruction of the Jabalia refugee camp, where my mother was born. The world has not only allowed a live-stream genocide, but it has allowed generations of Palestinians to remain refugees. Now, 2 of Gaza's 8 refugee camps, Jabalia and Rafah, have been destroyed. It is shameful that I'm still saying this after 22 months of the genocide. It is shameful that the world has been watching this for 77 years. Thank you.
I really pray that God can give me the words so that when the leaders hear them today, their hearts are softened. Because for 22 months, I have been screaming as a conservative Christian to my Republican leaders to stop funding a genocide. But what I am witnessing this week, the forced starvation of babies. They are not allowing baby formula to reach babies. The level of evil that it takes to make a decision to starve a baby as a means of war, as a weapon of war. What have we come to as a humanity? What have we come to as a country where we are normalizing the blocking of food to a baby to force a political organization to change their mind? This is not political. I have identified as a Republican, conservative Christian my entire life. And I stand unequivocally in solidarity with Rashida Tlaib, the only Palestinian-American in this office. Her people are being genocided. Her people are being starved. Enough! We have enough. The American people have spoken. And it is time for our leaders to listen. The people will only escalate until you listen. Lift the blockade on Gaza now. Feed these babies now.
My name is Stacy Gilbert. I've worked in humanitarian assistance for almost 30 years until I resigned from the State Department last year in protest of a State Department report to Congress that said Israel was not blocking aid. I had worked on that report and I knew that was not the truth. But I want to give you a little bit of context here with all the things that you're hearing from my perspective as a humanitarian. I have never, in my 30 years working in this field, seen a situation where there has to be a category to enumerate the number of people regularly killed on their way to get humanitarian assistance. That has never happened. Also, when people talk about children starving, when you see these heartbreaking pictures, think about it. In your own family, if you're out camping, if you're on a trip, if there's not enough food, who eats first? It's not the adults, it's the children. If the children are starving, it's because there is no food left. I also want to say famine is not a foregone conclusion in a conflict. It only happens in modern times when aid is deliberately blocked. Think about that. I am calling on Trump to make a break with this policy that started under Joe Biden, this disastrous policy of unconditional military support for Israel. Make a break with that, with Biden's disastrous policy. I'm calling on my former colleagues at the State Department, DOD, the intelligence community, the National Security Council, to uphold your oath not only to the Constitution, but an unspoken oath to truth. And make sure you are not denying the reports that are coming in from the ground, that you put those in your reporting all the time. Regardless of who may delete it later, put it in. Make sure it is there. And I'm calling on all federal employees who still have a job in this administration. Now is not the time to be comfortable. Now is not the time to fund your retirement account or your children's future college education. You need to put that money into organizations that are on the ground providing assistance, to journalists who are on the ground reporting the truth, to advocacy organizations. Now is not the time to be comfortable or complicit or complacent. My mantra through all of this has been, evil wins when good people do nothing. I am calling on every single person to do something every single day to stop this. The tide is turning, I believe that, but it's not turning fast enough for the people who are dead and dying in Gaza. Thank you.
My name is Hannie Nofall. I was a submarine officer for over 10 years, and I resigned in November 2023 during the Biden administration when I recognized very early on that this was in fact a genocide, and the United States government was fully and unequivocally backing that genocide. I'm only coming out now because I had to wait until the expiration of my active duty service to be able to speak out. but I'm coming out now to say that I do not support what the U.S. government has been promoting in Gaza for the last 22 months. 250 years ago, at the dawn of this nation, George Washington gave us a warning. In his farewell address, he cautioned us against the insidious wiles of foreign influence and pleaded with future generations to preserve the independence of our political institutions from entangling alliances and passionate attachments abroad. He did not do this out of isolationism or fear, but out of the deep understanding that the strength of the Republic lies not in its might, but in its moral clarity. Not in who it can dominate, but in who it can resist. I speak to you today as someone who wore the uniform of this country for over a decade, who stood the watch aboard a nuclear submarine as an officer, entrusted with one of the most powerful arsenals on Earth. I swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I took the oath seriously, but I have come to understand that threats to our republic do not always arrive in the form of armies or missiles. Sometimes they arrive as ideologies, quiet, corrosive, and clothed in the language of friendship. And today, the greatest test of our national integrity is not in the South China Sea or the Persian Gulf. It is Gaza. What is unfolding in Gaza is not a conflict. It is not a war between equals. It is a calculated starvation, bombing, and displacement of a captive civilian population executed by the Israeli government and made possible by the full backing of the United States. Let us be honest, without the billions in military aid to end the uninterrupted flow of weapons, the diplomatic shielding at the United Nations, and the bipartisan silence in Congress, this would not be possible. Every party, Republican and Democrat alike, has put loyalty to a foreign government above the lives of Palestinian children, above the conscience of the American people, and above the very values we claim to stand for. I know what these values are supposed to mean. I believed in them enough to lead sailors into harm's way. But how can we speak of liberty when we fund occupation? How can we claim to uphold human rights while enabling war crimes? How can we call ourselves a democracy while criminalizing dissent and silencing anyone who questions our blind allegiance to Israel? This is not just foreign policy. This is the capture of our republic. Washington foresaw this. He warned that passionate attachment to another nation would lead to the illusion of common interest, the betrayal of our own. And that is exactly where we are. We have been seduced by a false narrative, one that equates strategic alliance with moral obligation and dissent with disloyalty. But let me be clear. To speak the truth about Gaza is not anti-American. It is profoundly American, because patriotism, real patriotism, is not obedience to power, it is fidelity to principle. And principle demands we say this: no nation, however sacred its origin story, has the right to ethnically cleanse, starve, or massacre civilians. Not even Israel. Especially not with our weapons, especially not with our tax dollars, especially not in our name. I resigned my commission because I could no longer serve a system that rewards cowardice and punishes conscience. I could no longer remain silent while my government abets apartheid and genocide under the guise of security. And I say to you now, our silence is complicity. And complicity is not neutrality. It is betrayal. Betrayal of our Constitution, betrayal of our humanity, betrayal of the republic Washington fought to build. But it is not too late. The people of this country have always been capable of great moral courage. It was ordinary Americans who ended the Vietnam War, who brought down Jim Crow, who forced the end of South African apartheid. And it'll be us, veterans, teachers, doctors, students, clergy, who end this era of bipartisan complicity and demand a foreign policy rooted not in blind loyalty, but in justice. Because the world is watching, Gaza is watching, humanity is watching. And one day our children will ask what we did when our government became the chief enabler of one of the great moral atrocities of our time. Let us have an answer worthy of them. As Washington said, the preservation of the sacred fire of liberty is finally staked on the experiment entrusted to the hands of the American people. It is time we take that trust back. Thank you.
My name is Caleb Dixs. I'm a proud American and a 5-year veteran of the United States Marine Corps. I stand before you today, not as a politician, not as a diplomat, but as a man who has seen firsthand the power and devastation of modern weaponry. I know what these tools of war can do. I know how precise they can be and how deadly they become when they're used with no restraint and no conscience. And what we are witnessing in Gaza is not war, it's a systematic annihilation. Let me be absolutely clear. The state of Israel is conducting not a just war. It is waging a campaign of brutality and cowardly, vengeful war against civilians. We've seen the targeting of journalists, doctors, paramedics, aid workers. Tens of thousands of children have been killed, entire families erased, hospitals flattened, and now even starvation used as a weapon. This is not self-defense. This is genocide. And while Israel may be pulling the trigger, America is loading the gun. With every bomb we fund, every weapon we ship, every veto we cast at the UN, we stain our hands with the blood of the innocent. But I'm not just speaking as a Marine or an American. I'm speaking as someone who has walked the streets of Palestine. I've looked into the eyes of the Palestinian people. I've sat with their families, shared meals, laughed with their children, heard their stories. And I can tell you with certainty, these are some of the kindest, most resilient, most dignified people I have ever met. They do not need our pity, they need our solidarity. I do not stand here as a savior, I stand here as a brother, standing shoulder to shoulder with the Palestinian people in their fight for freedom, dignity, and liberation. To the American people, you have more power than you think. It is your tax dollars, your silence, your votes that make this violence possible. But it can also be your courage, your voices, your resilience that brings it to an end. Do not let the language of defense fool you. Do not let the words of propaganda blind you. Human life is human life. And the Palestinian lives are not dispensable. If you believe in liberty, if you believe in justice, if you believe in the values this nation claims to uphold, then now is the time to speak, to stand, and to act. Gaza is burning, the West Bank is bleeding, and history is watching. May we choose to be remembered not for our silence, but for our moral clarity, and our refusal to be complicit in the face of evil. Thank you. Free Palestine, and God bless you all.
Hello everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. The peace that the children in Gaza do not have. My name is Dr. Nidal Jabur. I'm a Palestinian-American internal medicine doctor from Michigan. I'm a proud constituent of Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. As your constituent, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, we want to congratulate you on your integrity, on your bravery, and on your moral clarity. As your constituents, we are proud of you. And despite all the pain, your district is saying, happy birthday, Rashida Tlaib. Thank you, Mus'ab Abu Toha, the amazing poet and writer, the son of Gaza. You are a proof that Gaza will live and shall outlive all the haters, domestic and foreign. I'm here with my colleagues as doctors, healthcare workers, and as witnesses to the worst atrocities in mankind's history. We are here to tell you without apology that what is happening in Gaza is a genocide, and that the United States government is helping to fund it with American tax dollars. What we are witnessing in Gaza is not a humanitarian aid. It's not relief. It is a United States funded slaughterhouse. Children are being starved and shot at for trying to get bread. Churches and mosques are bombed. Families are burned alive. No one is spared. Not newborns, not the elderly, not the patients, not the doctors, nor the priests. This is not war. This is an extermination campaign funded, aided, abetted by the United States of America. The so-called Gaza humanitarian aid is not a lifeline. It is a death trap. Children take off their sandals so they can run faster, to dodge the bullets while they are searching for bread. This is not a humanitarian operation. This is a death distribution network funded by the United States and run by the Israeli military and American mercenaries. From the concentration camps of the Holocaust to the killing fields in Cambodia, to the concentration zones Israel is building across Gaza, and now to the American-backed death distribution centers, the crime is the same. The genocide is the same. It should have ended 2 years ago, when the signs were clear, when the warnings were loud. And we know this. President Reagan stopped Israel in 1982 with one single phone call. And we know that President Trump can stop it with one single phone call now. Unless if he is as weak as Biden was. If you don't stop it today, then you are as sleepy as Joe was. It's your call. And yet our Congress voted on July 18th to send more of our tax dollars to fund more weapons. $500 million more of American tax dollars went to Israel on top of the $3.8 billion that they get for bombs to slaughter children, to mass starve children. President Trump, stop it today. No more negotiations. No more lies. No more giving Netanyahu and Israel time to starve and murder more babies and children. Don't let Netanyahu take you for a ride like he did with Biden. This is not who we are. The Americans are better than this. What we are supporting in Gaza does not make America great again. Shut down the killing zones, flood Gaza with aid, end the genocide. History will remember this point and this moment, what we did and what we failed to do. The world is watching, and history is keeping receipts. In order to honor the true heroes in Gaza, in this awful stain on human history, my colleagues here will share accounts from doctors, healthcare workers, and regular Palestinians in Gaza. Some of them are still with us. Some of them have been murdered. Others are being tortured in the Israeli torture camps. They are not numbers. They are human beings with hopes and dreams. And they bleed just like anyone else. Thank you.
My name is Ashraf Abulaiz. I'm an anesthesiologist from Indiana, and today we are going to be sharing some of the quotes and testimonies from physicians and healthcare workers and regular people in Gaza. My part is to share Dr. Ali Taharawi, an ER doctor at Al-Aqsa Hospital in Deir al-Balah, Gaza. He has served his people throughout Israel's ongoing genocide, and he had been doing 24-hour shifts due to devastating staff shortages. Recently, he stated, and I quote, "I have a cold, and in 1 hour, I will have finished the 24-hour shift, heartbroken again. I lost a cardiac patient because he had no medication. Another shot in the head was left to die slowly because we had no ventilators. A child with a shattered skull and exposed brain matter just died in front of me. I also just found a kidney patient collapsing on the bedroom floor. He had a seizure due to brain damage because he has not had dialysis in 3 months. A diabetic man haven't had eaten in 4 days. And when I asked him why, he cried. I gave him fluids and some money to buy flour. I am so sorry for the starving, for the children we couldn't save, for the mothers, for the dead, for the vulnerable. Not a single shift has passed without having me shattered." End of quote.
Hello, I'm Mary Beth. I'm a fourth-year medical student in Pennsylvania, also a veteran of the United States Army for nearly 2 decades. On Sunday, we hosted American nephrologist Dr. Imran on our weekly webinar for Doctors Against Genocide. The objective was to support the people in Gaza navigate malnutrition and refeeding syndrome. We learned that when we reintroduced food consumption, carbs are the worst in terms of safety. High phosphorus foods were encouraged, such as seafood, dairy products, legumes, nuts, seeds, bone broth, and canned foods. We were hit with the sobering reality when Iman Husni, a woman in Gaza, interrupted Dr. Imran to tell him that the foods he suggested when refeeding were unavailable in Gaza. I speak on behalf of all my colleagues when I say we collectively felt shame and guilt, even in our attempt to support. We fell short.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ahmad Abu Arab. I'm a family doctor from Michigan. I'm going to state a testimony from Ahmed Zaidan, a 10-year-old from Gaza who went to collect aid at one of the GHF distribution centers. He says, "We thought they would give us the boxes respectfully, but they turned out to be the filthiest. We stayed from 7 in the evening until dawn. Tanks on one side, quadcopters and Apaches on the other. I told the young men not to go. Damn those aid boxes if they come with humiliation. Either the aid comes with dignity, we don't want it. My mother was martyred. Before her, my brother was killed. And God knows who's next. We can't even guarantee our lives anymore. Here's my bag, and here's a sack of flour. We have no weapons. We're not going to fight. We are civilians, not soldiers. Don't go to the aid sites and sacrifice your lives."
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Dr. Kuratulan Sayyedan, physician from New York City. I'm going to share testimony of Dr. Khalid Al-Sir, renowned trauma surgeon from Nasir Medical Complex, Khan Yunus. While his telemedicine work was accepted, published in Lancet, he was abducted. On 28th March, the soldiers called me and 2 other civilian prisoners, aged around 16 and 17 by name. Dr. Al-Sir recalled, "It was night. They tied us very tight at our wrists and ankles and put us in a military car. No one told us anything. We drove for around 2 hours into the hills. All the while they beat us, kicking us and humiliating us. They were laughing. I was trying to explain in English that the ties on my wrists were too tight, but they just said I was a doctor, so I would be okay. At around 4 a.m., I heard one say in Arabic, "These three are to be hanged." I thought it was the end, said the surgeon. I was in pain. They had broken my ribs. Even when they said I was going to be hanged, I didn't care. I just wanted it to end, he said. Dr. Asir was not released until late September, reuniting him with his parents, for whom he is the sole care provider.
My name is Dr. Roxana Seami. I'm an infectious disease physician. I will be sharing the account by a Gazan captive regarding Dr. Adnan al-Bursh. This was an account about his time at the Ofer prison area. The head of orthopedics at Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital, Dr. Adnan al-Bursh, was working at alDal, a hospital in northern Gaza, in December when he and other medics were arrested by the Israeli army for what they said was quote-unquote national security reasons. He was taken to the notorious Ofer prison. A captive at Israel's Ofer prison in the occupied West Bank told Sky News how Israeli forces left Dr. Adnan al-Bursh, who had previously been severely tortured, to die alone in agonizing pain and naked from the waist down in the prison's yard. He stated, and I quote, "In mid-April 2024, Dr. Adnan al-Bursh arrived at Section 23 in Ofer prison. The prison guards brought Dr. Adnan al-Bursh into the section in a deplorable state. He had clearly been assaulted with injuries around his body. He was naked in the lower part of his body. The prison guards threw him in the middle of the yard and left him there. Dr. Adnan al-Bursh was unable to even stand up. One of the prisoners helped him and accompanied him to one of the rooms. A few minutes later, prisoners were heard screaming from the room, and they declared that Dr. Adnan al-Bursh was dead."
Hello and assalamu alaikum. My name is Dr. Iman Husni. I'm a family doctor in the Northern Virginia area. My testimony is coming from Gid Qassam, Dr. Hussam Abu Safia's lawyer. Dr. Hussam Abu Safia, a pediatrician and the director of Kamal Adwan Hospital, was taken hostage on December 27, 2024, and is currently being held at the infamous Ofer prison. Gid Qassam, his lawyer, testifies that Dr. Abu Safia has been held without charge for 7 months. His freedom is nowhere in sight. Cut off from the world and held in Israeli detention without charge, he has endured repeated beatings, prolonged solitary confinement, and medical neglect since his arrest in Gaza. The reason for his arrest, the Israeli army claimed, was that he had been involved in terrorist activity. 7 months later, Israel has still not presented any evidence to prove it. At the time of his arrest, he weighed around 213 pounds. In the first 2 months, he lost 44 pounds. By the time his lawyer met with him recently, it was clear he had lost close to 88 pounds. Dr. Abu Safia spent almost a month in solitary confinement at Ofer before being transferred to a department with other detainees from Gaza. These cells are underground with no ventilation or natural light. The dampness is so intense that detainees feel cold even when the outside temperature exceeds 86 degrees Fahrenheit. The food that the prison provides is the bare minimum. They are being deliberately starved. Dr. Abu Safia told his lawyer that his most recent assault by prison guards occurred on the 24th or 25th of June. She said that he was attacked brutally and savagely. The beating lasted around 30 minutes. There were bruises on his head, neck, and chest. After they were done, he asked to see a doctor. He wasn't feeling well and he was having chest pain. They refused his request. She says that this was maybe the 5th or 6th time he had been attacked, and they also broke his glasses. She said, "I tried so hard to get him a new pair because after he was arrested, when he was arrested, he didn't have his glasses." She finally managed to get him a pair in May, but when they beat him again, they shattered the lenses.
Hello, my name is Sherrod Worheimer. I'm a medical student at George Washington, right here in DC. I'm reading the testimony of Hala Shasha, a 40-year-old mother of 5 from Gaza City. She stated, "I dread the moment Hanan and Misk will ask me about their legs. What will I tell them? When I go to buy shoes for my children, what will I do when Hanan and Misk ask why I don't buy them any? If they say, I want to play, I want to dance, I want to ride a bike, what will I say to them? How will they adapt to their new situation? They lost their father, the love, compassion, and security he gave them. And they also lost their legs and their ability to move and play. Everything beautiful in their lives is gone. Their childhood was stolen. What did they do to deserve such devastation?"
Hello, I'm Dr. Christa Joseph. I'm an internal medicine physician from Maryland. This is the testimony of Mervat Hijazi. Mervat Hijazi and her 9 children didn't eat at all on Thursday, save her underweight baby who had a sachet of peanut paste. They had nothing to eat except for the peanut sachet for 11-month-old Lama, received from a clinic as a nutritional supplement because baby milk formula has all but disappeared. I don't have enough milk in my breasts to feed her because I hardly eat myself, said Hijazi, whose husband was killed early in the war as he cycled to get food from a charity kitchen. I'm so ashamed of myself for not being able to feed my children. Hijazi told Reuters from their tent pitched amid the rubble of Gaza City. I cry at night when my baby cries and her stomach aches from hunger. 6-year-old Zaha can't sleep because of Israel's bombardment. She wakes up terrified, shaking, and then remembers she didn't eat and is hungry. I put her back to sleep, promising her food in the morning. Of course, I lie.
Hi, I'm Dr. Danny Richie. I'm a family physician from Rhode Island. I'm here to give the testimony of Dr. Wafa Abu Namir. At Nasir Hospital in Khan Yunis, in the southern Gaza Strip, Dr. Wafa Abu Namir confirmed the dire situation, reporting that by June 30th, 2025, 9 children were still being treated for malnutrition-related complications at her facility alone. She described the scenes they have witnessed over the past 2 months as really unprecedented, with severe cases of nutritional edema or marasma, muscle wasting. She also said that some are additionally suffering from injuries due to explosions from which they have not recovered. Dr. Abu Namir described to Amnesty how the impact on children extends beyond the physical. One girl whose hair fell out almost completely as a result of nutritional edema kept asking me, "Doctor, will my hair grow back?" Am I still beautiful? Abu Namir said, even if these children recover completely from the scars will always remain with them. Medically, we know that malnutrition amongst infants and children may have long-term cognitive development effects, but I don't think enough attention is being given to the mental health and psychological impact of starvation and war on children and parents. She also conveyed the exhaustion felt by medical staff we as doctors are also exhausted. We are malnourished ourselves. Most of us are also displaced and live in tents, yet we do our best to offer medical care, provide nutrient supplements, and as much support as we can. We try to save lives. We try to relieve suffering. But there is very little we can do after discharge.
I'm John Ruer, a retired emergency physician. I've been on the front lines of conflict zones on 4 continents, and I have never seen anything like what is happening in Gaza. Missiles and bombs designed to fight modern armored armies are being dropped on helpless civilians penned in a cage. And if that's not enough, now we have the barbaric medieval siege tactic of starving a population to induce submission. Unbelievable. But we're not here today as diplomats. We are doctors whose duty is not to power, but to preserve life. And so we are asking President Donald Trump and the 535 members that work in this building behind us for 5 immediate actions. 1, open the crossings to Gaza for humanitarian aid.
Open it now. Open now. Now.
2, dismantling the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which, as you've heard, is nothing but a death trap dressed up as distribution centers. 3, unfettered access to food, fuel, medicine, and water to be distributed by the NGOs like World Food Program, the United Nations, and UNICEF and Oxfam, organizations that have experience in delivering this without killing people.
Let the now.
4, international protection for humanitarian aid and humanitarian aid workers. And 5, a permanent and complete ceasefire now.
Ceasefire now.
We're not asking for a miracle, we're demanding justice. Because genocide doesn't happen just in silence, it happens in bureaucracy, in delay, in neutral language from people that are powerful who should know better. So we're here to say no more. We will not stop, we will not be polite, we will not forget. Lift the siege, feed the starving, stop the killing now. Not another hour, not another child, not another bomb. Never again for anyone. For God's sake, people, reclaim our humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for coming. If any of the media would like to do a one-on-one interview with anyone here, please feel free to tap someone on the shoulder if you have any additional questions you'd like to ask. Thank you for coming.
And the National Day of Action to end the starvation, people around the country have been asked to slam on pots.
Thank you, Rashida.